So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is our first webinar, and we're really excited about it. So I'm Gabriella, and my vibe today, as you can see from my background, is buzzing. So that's one of our signature vibes at Vibemap. My background is in urban planning and urban design, and my role at Vibemap is the Director of Strategic Partnership.
Thanks. Yeah. And my name is Noah. I'm CEO and one of the co-founders of Vibemap. My background is also in urban planning and design with a specialty in technology related to helping people better understand how people behave and feel in cities. And my role is head of growth and obviously leading the team as the CEO.
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Peppel. I'm also a founder of Vibemap, and I head up our product and technology. My background is in English writing, so I'm a writer turned designer turned software engineer. And ever since I got my hands on both books and computers, I've been fascinating with exploring like how people feel in the world. So a lot of my work is to do integration work with destinations, districts, bids, all the customers we work with, and then heading up the product roadmap. Really great to meet you all.
Great. So for today's agenda, we're going to just give you a brief overview of Vibemap, and then we're going to hear from one of our partners, Peoria. And then Steve is going to give a demo of how the product works, and then leave it open for questions. And feel free as we're going, I mean, this can be really informal, feel free to ask questions as we're going as well. But first, we would love if everyone could put into the chat their favorite local restaurant, bar, shop, etc., and the vibe of that place. And at the end, we'll be doing a giveaway, a $100 gift card to that location. I'll hand it over to Noah now.
Thanks, Gabri. I'm going to go ahead and pull up and share my screen. Can everybody see my screen okay? I guess that's a yes. So I'll go ahead and go into full screen mode. Thank you so much for joining today. It's really, as Gabri mentioned, this is our first webinar. Really excited to share Vibemap with you and give you a little bit of better sense of what Vibemap is and how it can be of value to you and your work. So we founded Vibemap in January 2020 to help connect people to great city experiences based on vibe. Even before the pandemic, oops, went a little too far. Even before the pandemic, we were suffering, the world is suffering from an epidemic of isolation and loneliness, which is pretty crazy because we all live in cities full of people, hundreds of thousands of people around us at any time, and yet many of us feel isolated and alone and that we're not connecting with other people. Of course, during the pandemic, this became even more painfully acute and also revealed how critical it is for us as human beings to come together in real life for social interactions. At the same time, we were aware that people were getting pretty tired and sick and tired of the same old ratings and reviews sites and same products that they were using to find places to go and things to do. Local businesses were also frustrated with the same old products and listing sites, then were looking for new ways to connect with customers. And then also companies and organizations were needing and still need help making sense of their city data and making it useful for clients and customers and visitors. So our solution was Vibemap. And our core mission is actually to bring people together in real life and help local businesses grow and thrive. And Vibemap is a city discovery app, website, and platform that connects people to great experiences, places, and events that match their vibe. So for users, it's a fun way to find things to do and places to go. For local businesses, it's a tool to bring new customers through the door. And for subscribers, it's a global platform to help you create smarter business outcomes. So Vibemap has three main audiences, customer bases that we're working with, and they all work together in a flywheel to create a virtuous cycle of value between subscribers, users, and local businesses. For subscribers, the most value is in promoting city experiences and collecting and enriching data. For users, as I mentioned, it's for connecting with great city experiences based on their vibe. And then for local businesses, it's to increase visibility and reach new customers. We connect with our audience across multiple channels. We have a mobile app, we have a website, we have social media, we have newsletter, we do in real life marketing, we promote in real life events, we make t-shirts. As you noticed, probably some of you have a t-shirt, and if you don't, let us know and we'll get you one. So since we launched in January 2020, we have had tens of thousands of people that have used Vibemap to already connect to great city experiences. And this is during the pandemic, which was a huge challenge for us as a new company, trying to get people together in real life when that wasn't exactly what was being encouraged. However, it was a good challenge for us, and we found that people were looking for outdoor spaces, patios, new and public spaces to get together, slow streets that their cities had designated as places where people could come out and enjoy being outside, even though, and in a safe way. Thousands of local businesses are already gaining the benefits of Vibemap and seeing new customers come through their door, and also helping them to recover from the pandemic. And subscribers are using Vibemap already to make smarter business outcomes for districts and destinations, such as what most of the people are on this call. The main focus for us, like the core, is to help you to complete and enrich your CRM and business listings, and also tap into our global data set of point of interest data and events data to help to actually increase your listings. Also, white labeling Vibemap. So one, having your district and destination show up on Vibemap and give you a greater reach and connect to new audiences, and then take what we've created and embed it into your platform, onto your website, and onto your branded environment. So at the core, Vibemap really does two things. So first thing that we do is we collect and enrich and maintain city data. So that's point of interest data, event data, experience data, data around destinations, and we enrich it with high quality attributes such as vibes, photos, descriptions, user-generated reviews that are out there in the public sphere on the internet, and then also basic data as well, addresses, phone numbers, social media links. And then on the other hand, we make that data useful with our interactive maps and listings and widgets that are easily embedded into your website and mobile app. So anything you see on Vibemap, anything that you see on our website, or anything that you see on our mobile app, that can be embedded into your website and your branded environment. So who uses Vibemap as a subscriber? This is a list of 5 different industry sectors. They're related, that Vibemap has value for each of these. So for destinations and districts, it's a turnkey solution to promote travel and attract visitors. For technology companies, we can help them power their products with high quality city data. For city organizations and planning organizations, we help them visualize future development and growth and make smart decisions and policy choices. For real estate and travel companies, we help them gain better insights into hyper-local context of where they might want to be investing in the future. and push and attracting new visitors to go to those different destinations. And then for festivals and conventions, we offer a really fun and exciting way for them to give their attendees a more robust and exciting experience while they're at the conference based on their vibe. So for destinations and districts, there's a few basic features that we recommend as a starting point to work with Vibemap. And the number one is the place listings. And that's us. We basically complete and enrich your CRM and business listings, and we maintain that over time. I'm certain if you have business listings, which I'm certain you do, you know how challenging it is to make sure that it's complete and it's reflecting all of the places and the events and experiences that you want to highlight for your city and destination. And then once you're done getting that list together and all the data, and you get it onto your website and your CRM, guess what? It's outdated. And that's really challenging, especially if you're on a tight budget and a small team. So we basically offer that service, and we become a part of your team, and we operate and maintain that over time. Also, as I mentioned, we take that information and we put it on Vibemap, and we create a partner page for you. So for your city or for your neighborhood, for your district, so that you can connect to a big, broader audience, and you can connect to the Vibemap audience. And then taking those elements and embedding it into your website and making your website more useful for the visitors that you're trying to attract, or the local people that you're trying to, to remind them of all the great things that are happening in their own hometown. We also have a really amazing events feed. So we're affiliate provider for some of the largest ticket resellers and destination companies in the world, Ticketmaster, Gold Star, Tickets, Get Your Guide. So we pull in hundreds of events and experiences for every city that we're working in. And I should mention also Eventbrite as well. So we pull in paid events and then free events, events that are at larger venues, and then hyper local events as well. And this is something that we can embed into your website. And because we're a ticket reseller, there's opportunities for revenue sharing there as well. Vibemap is a city guide. So we have a network of writers and influencers out there in the world. And we also publish our own guides about places. So the best places to go in Jack London by Vibe is one of our oldest pieces of content. Jack London was Improvement District is one of our legacy partners, and we've been working with them for a number of years. So we create really great guides to help them express and get out the word about the really fun experiences that people could have in their neighborhoods. And then also taking that and embedding it into their website. We also have challenges, badges, and passports. So using the mobile app that we have has a check-in feature, and you can save places and you can add vibes and upvote vibes, and we get to keep track of that. And so with the neighborhood challenges and badges and passports, what happens is that we get to find out who are your cities and neighborhoods super fans. And when we do that with you, we share that information with you. So you get a list of these people, and you get their contact info, and you know about the places that they love and in your neighborhood or district. And therefore you can reach back out to them and re-engage them and use them as promoters, ambassadors, influencers for your neighborhood, local micro influencers that they're going to go and tell their friends about the really awesome things that are happening in your neighborhood. As I mentioned, we also have a network of influencers, and we run a social media. We run our own social media and digital marketing campaigns, and we offer that as a service because this is also a place where a lot of districts and destinations have challenges, and it's a pain point. And so we can run social media campaigns, we can hire influencers and get them out and promoting the places that you want us to highlight. Also, we can help you with ad buys with Google and Facebook that are more focused on the high quality content that you want people to know about on your website. And then, as I mentioned, we do in real life marketing, and we support local events. So with the Kono district here in Oakland. We supported them when they reopened Oakland First Friday, which is one of the most well-known events in Oakland. We actually made a physical map for them that highlighted all the different local businesses that were around the First Friday event. And we called it Oakland First Friday After Dark because the event stopped at 9 and the district wanted to make sure that they didn't lose that energy and actually give people an option to go to local places after the First Friday event was open and hopefully spending their money and visiting these local places and spending more time in that district. We also hold events, check-in events at local bars and restaurants and encourage people to come. Usually we do these on off days, so like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, to bring more customers in on those slower days. And we've had a great experience with that. Super fun meeting people in real life that are using Vibemap and getting to hear what their experience is. And then business owners are always pretty happy about having more customers come in on an off day. So as Gabri mentioned, we're really fortunate to have some representatives from Discover Peoria here today. Discover Peoria is one of our first partners, and we're helping. This is my understanding, and this is what I think we're going to do a little bit more than this, but we're at the basic core, we're helping Peoria to bring their CRM and CMS to life and attract new visitors to the region. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Elle and team, but I'd love to ask you a couple questions about your experience working with Vibemap. And just to kick it off, maybe you could tell us really quickly, or not, or just take your time. What was it that first drew you to Vibemap?
Yeah, good question. So hi everybody, I'm Elle Benway. I'm the VP of Marketing at Discover Peoria. Peoria is a charming little city. Love the mug, love the mug. Peoria is a charming little city and area in Illinois, central Illinois. And we can talk to that in a little bit, but CJ Goddard is our VP of Finance, also on the call. Then we have Michael Phillips, who is, what is your title nowadays?
Marketing specialist.
Thank you. Marketing specialist, who essentially is the point person between Vibemap and Discover Peoria. So Noah and Steve and Michael are all best friends because of Vibemap. So back in the day, like a year ago now, so I'll back it up even further, sorry. We nonstop get calls here at the CVB, Convention Visitors Bureau, of people looking for maps constantly, like a map for this one road or what to do from like this district, or it is a common question to the point where our team out front, they have a tally mark going of how many people call asking for maps. And in my background, I'm like, who would want a printed map? That is so not what you do nowadays, right? But there is a huge massive audience that wants their printed maps, and we don't like to disappoint. So our team did a lot of research. We narrowed it down to 4 different map companies. I'll put that in quotes because not all of them were map companies. But we wanted something that was really engaging and interactive that could be both printed but also on mobile or on web, so responsive. And then furthermore, we wanted something that would be able to be embedded within our website, because we're in the middle of deciding to revamp our website, which we'll get into that as well. So that's how it all started. And then when we were talking, so our project manager, I think first reached out to Noah, right? Is that how it first started? Or was it Steve, or I don't know. This is like a year ago now. It's been a while. Lots happened, guys. And yeah, so we talked about the map, and then we discovered these top 10 lists, which is, it's like the dream come true for Peoria. So based on our target market, who we know who our target is, and how they want to gather information, we realized that Vibemap was the perfect fit based on what our target market wants, which we'll get to in a bit, as well as us needing to have just physical maps, or at least the ability to print physical maps for those who are asking for it, but then also enhance the experience, the consumer journey here once you get to Peoria. Does that answer that? Michael, CJ, am I missing anything?
About summed it up.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, hey, do you mind sharing a little bit about what your experience has been working with us?
Yeah, I'll kick it to Michael first.
Yeah, so like Al said, Steve, Noah and I are all best friends now. Noah stood up at my wedding as my best man. Steve officiated. No, but we meet with Vibemap every other week. So far, we found them to be responsible, flexible, reliable, all the above, and they really know what they're doing and what they're selling and what their product is. My area of expertise is more on the CMS side. We had to kind of get Vibemap familiar with our CRM, how that all worked, and Steve barely needed me whatsoever. I think we talked about it real briefly, and he picked it all up from there and ran with it. So these guys know what they're doing, and I would say our experience has been pretty good overall.
I think CJ has more to add to that too, but I'm gonna jump in next. So working with this team has been, it's actually revolutionized how we've thought about how our target market gets information. So we're a unique CVB, as in we don't usually do the typical CVB things. And that's not because we don't want to, it's just because we have a lot of innovators on our core team, our leadership team. None of them came from a CVB background. A lot of them came from marketing or finance or an ad agency or politics, which we'll ignore the politics aspect. But we have such weird backgrounds that when we all come together, we don't think of it as your typical CVB. We think about it as who's coming, who's here, and how can we make their experience much better? How do we service this better? And based on who we knew was coming, our tourists, and most people, and this might be shocking for everybody, but Peoria does not sell itself. I said this multiple times to our team. Vibemap has heard this a few times. It's a sell to get people into Peoria, because it either doesn't have an existing good vibe or no one's heard of it at all. And so we need to have that little feather in the hat to be like, but we are cool, and look at this, and we're cool because of X, Y, and Z. And what those ideas were that we had based on our target, Vibemap has that ability to be able to create for us. And what I love the most, I think, is if one of us has a crazy idea, which happens every 2 weeks. I feel like every time we're on the call, we're throwing more stuff at that team. And Vibemap is like, yeah, I can totally do that. Or, wow, let me just soak on that, which is a polite way of being like, what are you talking about? But I think that everything we've thrown them, they've come up with a really, really creative solution to that, as that fits our target market, it fits our budget, it fits our objectives, it fits all of our strategy. And it's been really, really beneficial to work with. CJ?
Yeah, just it's been great. I mean, like you said, it's the creativity and kind of providing what your vision has been, Elle, and all within budget. So that is great.
VP of Finance, so important.
Yes, thank you, CJ, for approving the contract. Speaking of vision, and I guess Elle, this is probably directed to you. What exactly is your vision for Discover Peoria? And then kind of woven into there, how is Vibemap helping you to achieve that vision?
Right, good question. So what is the vision? What is the vision for Discover Peoria? But a good question. So what we've found is, based on, we've done extensive, we have a data and analytics person on our team, and when they've been able to dig in and who's clicking, where they're clicking from, and what are they clicking, what are the interests, it's been very eye-opening to figure out how that market likes to get information. And so we're actually reshifting what our website currently looks like. We work am I allowed to say, CJ, who we currently work with from a web perspective? Yeah, cool. So we work with Simple View as of right now from a CRM and a CMS. And the CRM is solid, right? It has all of our listings, it has all of our businesses. When I say all of, I mean whenever Michael goes and puts in a new listing or a new business or all that, right? But they have the great capability, but then you get to our CMS, our front end aspect, and it's very, what is the nice way to say, the same as everybody else's. It is a cookie cutter. It's the exact same. Every CVB looks the same, right? And Simple View actually did a lot of our rebranding. So you'll see our logo is on a case study on their website because they rebranded us, which is awesome. I'm not knocking Simple View at all. That is not what this is. But from a front end perspective, we wanted to be able to integrate Vibemap into it, right? Because figuring out who our target is and what the plan was, we want people to engage a lot more and utilize our website as the go-to location on what is happening in our area, what to do when you're here, rather than the attraction aspect. It's once we get you here, this is your, this is your medium. This is where you go to get all the information. And Simple View is not allowing us to embed Vibemap. I think we got around it, maybe, once we did, right, Steve? When we did some digging, we figured out we could embed. But it was just like hitting our heads against the wall when we had these awesome, really cool ideas of how to engage our consumers. And Simple View is kind of tying our hands a bit. So with that, we found that our consumers love these like top 10 lists-ish, we'll call them, but Vibemap makes them. They're all over their website, the writers, of like top places to go if you love cats, or where to take your mother-in-law, or the best places to wear a sombrero, or whatever they may be, right? Vibemap makes these lists, and I was like, that is exactly what Peoria should be doing, is making these curated lists for people who have a specific interest to be able to click through, read, and just get just the right of information to where to explore and where to go. And I want it curated in a map. And then I want this, and then I want this. And then it grew into this very long list of everything that Elle wanted. And CJ over here had heartburn like nobody else. And Michael's like, you want to do what? And then we found Vibemap, and it's all been dream come true. Does that help with the vision? Did I like miss any parts of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I think what's interesting is you highlighted that you already have a CRM, you already have a CMS.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's a position that many destinations and districts are in. They have their CRM, they have their CMS, but then now what?
Exactly, because if you do go, I mean, we all see there are so many CVBs. If you go to each other's websites, they look very much the same, and there's that same crowd riff thing at the bottom, and like we have the same template, right? And what was frustrating is like it was a very beautiful website before Michael and team here really started to ramp it up. But now it's like you know where to go to get really unique information based on what your interest is. And that's where we're just stepping up the level, so that if you're forced to come to Peoria because you have a work meeting, or because we have a huge medical industry. And so if your family's here and you're going to visit, we still need to create a resource where anybody is here, whether because someone's having a wedding here, or family reunion, or you name it. We wanted to be able to offer that based on what an interest is, knowing that everyone's interests are going to be different. And so searching that and being able to populate it and curate it on a map, it was really, really important to our consumer journey.
And another thing you mentioned, this is, I'm going to throw a tiny curveball at you and Michael. Another thing you just mentioned, which I wanted to come back to, is around the CRM and how you had been traditionally populating the CRM with businesses and places, and then versus now with Vibemap, and how we're working with you on that.
Yeah, so pre-Vibemap, I actually don't know entirely how this works, so the boys will have to chime in a little bit. I believe either they would, someone from our community would have to reach out to be like, I would like to be a partner of yours. And then they pay whatever, and then we give them a listing, right? And then they can log into the listing at any time and fiddle around and do all that good stuff. But now the Vibemap team has figured out some cool little magic spell to like gather all of the interesting points around our region, and populate all of the information that we would need to make our site or our listings relevant and interesting, so that people would be able to actually use our site as this Google search. And what was important for us from our analytics perspective is if we are doing these top 30 lists of, best places to leaf peep or wherever, within that story content that needs to link back to a listing. And so that when we can search the whole site based on, because you love bird watching and because you love snowshoeing and because you love all these really fun things, it will curate based on, this list of things from our website or places to do or things to visit or all that stuff curates based on your interests. And so everything would have to link back to a listing, which would then connect to a vibe or an interest point. And so that was really important to us when Steve figured out how to pull all that magic data from the interwebs or wherever he's pulling it from. We were able to then tag it to make sure that it was relevant to the people searching our whole site. So that way, if you can ever to be like, it's coming soon, fingers crossed, it's not on our site now, so don't go and look and explore. Definitely do that because our analytics will love it, but Vibemap is not active yet. The idea is you can go and you can just search for the 50 things that you love, maybe not 50, say five things that you love, and it will populate between the listings or businesses. It will populate versus all of the content. So all the top 5, 10, 30 lists that we've created. So pieces of content, right? As well as all the events. If any event on our calendar of events is also tagged with one of those vibes, it will also populate them to all the things in the Peoria area that have to do with the things that you love. Will curate on our site so that anyone would be able to utilize it for a go-to resource. Does that make sense? My rambling.
No, that was great. I think that's a great segue, actually. And thank you so much for being willing to be put on the spot and answer questions and share about your experience with Vibemap. It's a good transition for us to hand over to Steve so he can talk a little bit about the how does it work. So you were just kind of getting into it, but now Steve's going to share more in depth. And also Michael, CJ, I know you're super busy, but if you are able to hang out until the end, that would be great. And then we are going to have a question and answer period, and some people may want to ask you some questions.
Cool. I can stay on. CJ, I know that you may have to go soon, but Michael, you're good too. Cool. We'll be here to land, guys, if you have any questions.
Great.
Wonderful. So I'm going to share my screen and I will keep this demo pretty brief and quick so that we have time for any questions. And I think what Elle and Noah and Gabri have shared provides really great context for this. And so let me share my screen. So Vibemap collects place, event, and experience data for anywhere in the world, and then can create city and neighborhood pages for that information where we can have a list of the top places and things to do, stories and guides. As it was discussed, we both have out of the box guides that can be by category, it can be by vibe, be either by top things, or we can ingest that content from blog posts and content that would be in your CRM and CMS. We also have attractions and bookable experiences. So if you want to, take a city bus tour or explore, I'm showing Chicago here, take a tour along the Chicago Riverwalk, we have those. So we can also load in any of those types of experiences that your destination or neighborhood or whatever your jurisdiction is. Any of those we can add in. Any events or programming that you have, we can also add in as events and places in our database. So, we really want to be more than just places to eat, we really want to have, you know, family places, public places, third places nicely represented on the site. We do have hotels, both for the bookable hotels and for experiences. We do revenue sharing on that because of the affiliates we're through. There's a commission that's paid for any of the tickets or bookings that are done on that. We have community events, and then as Noah mentioned, we pull in thousands of events each week from around the world, and then we put those in a geospatial format so that we can get those at a really granular neighborhood level, block level, city level, county level, kind of like whatever the level that makes sense for your organization. We can get the data in that format. I'll then jump over to a little bit of where we're at on the partnership with Peoria. And again, we're rolling out some really exciting new pages and content at the end of this year. So I won't spend too much time because some of this is gonna, in the process of changing. But if you look at the Peoria integration, we're pulling data from their CRM, which is Simple View, on a daily basis. We can work with a variety of different databases. So we're having conversations with most of the major CRMs that are used by cities, destinations, planning departments, that sort of thing. And then we also work with more consumer type CRMs and CMSs. So we work with HubSpot, we work with WordPress, work with a variety of those. So whatever system you're on, definitely happy to talk about how we can use that data. And so we'll do both source of truth, pulling the information from your database and any important information. And like in Peoria's case, they have tons of, I'll share their website as it is now. They have tons of awesome content. It's always cycling through really great seasonal content, really great recommendations for residents, for visitors. And so one thing we can do is just, if your website is not changing too much, we can just take what you have in terms of your existing like place and member listings, pull that into our system to enrich it, to add photos, add tags for categories, vibes. We have a whole other list of place attributes, and working with Peoria has really helped us to make those even better in terms of, places that are accessible, which is a big initiative they're doing, places that are family friendly, places that are pet friendly. And so we have a list of tons of those attributes that we can pull in from your system. And those can also be made into a vibe or a category or just something that you can search on a map. And so we're pulling in on that, and we can just push that back to your CRM. So it doesn't require changes to your website or any of the cards that you're seeing on this page. We can embed those, theme those, like get those in a format that you want and put those on your website. And that's really easy to do. So a lot of our partners like the events feed, because we can pull the events they already have and then supplement that with any other, good like local community events, any like big events that are happening in the area, bring those together. This is a nice feed to have. And we make all this information, it's mobile friendly, it's SEO friendly. So we're telling all search engines about this information, which is beneficial to the businesses, the events organizers, and to your website to have that information accessible there. And then so we pull in the data, we analyze the different categories of places, the vibes of places. We can look at like events that are programmed and kind of like look at the cycle of when events are happening. So you can kind of see which parts of your area are more active at other times. And that's helpful for sometimes scheduling and planning out like when and where you want to have events. And then this is just we do different visualizations of the place data. And I should also point out, just because of our background in planning and government tech and civic tech, we do pull in like permitting data. We're working with planning departments. So like permitting, place management data, that is also data that we can pull in and help you visualize. And then you can kind of choose which parts of it you want to have be more public facing to share with the public, put on your website, and versus things that are used operationally. One other quick thing I want to show is kind of explains like how our system works on the back end. So additionally to pulling in information from the CRM. So if I'm like, just want to pull up a place in Chicago, so I'll refresh this page. And so pretty much for practically any place in the world, you can And this can be for your staff or for residents to submit places and events. So I can just search, and so we search our database and then we search the web for any information about places. I wonder if I'm spelling this wrong. I'll come back to that one. So we'd also do this for events. So we can search for any events online. So you can just copy in the link of the event. And then that will automatically get the information from it. So like name, description, location, start time, end time, photos, kind of all the information, gets information about the venue where it's happening at. And again, we also can handle like recurring events. So if something happens like first Friday, second Saturday, like a farmer's market, things like that, we can pull in that information about like the kind of programming of when it happens to automatically pull those into the database. And this place did pull up. I've been having some internet issues this morning, so that might be. But so for any, so this kind of shows like we're doing this on our recommendation in search engine would pull in information for all the places that are in your existing database and enrich them with better categories and subcategories. So we kind of have a huge taxonomy of that we've learned from just working with a variety of different neighborhoods and cities. We've been able to collect a bunch of information. And then we also work with SEO data, search engine data, Google data on getting you like popularity numbers for how many people are looking for family friendly things to do versus like maybe, you know, autonomous seasonal things to do in your area. So you can kind of prioritize content based upon that popularity. So we'll pull in the categories, address, phone number, website, and we compare that across different sites on the web to try to get the best information. And then we do a crosswalk of different accounts. So social media accounts and other accounts for a place, which is pretty handy because then you can get like any Instagram photos or other photos that are on their website, we can automatically pull those in and then you can curate those. And then we tag that place with the vibe. So we'll do this for all the places that are, you know, already on your website or in your database, but it also is useful for like, you know, for all of our cities, you know, people are submitting events on a pretty regular basis, especially local community events, but you know, for your residents, for your staff, it can also be a really easy way to add information to your website. And then finally, I'll show the map, which we've talked about quite a bit. And so, you know, here I'm in Chicago, but I can definitely go over to Peoria as well. And so you can see all of the data that's populating for Peoria, and this map can be searched, can be filtered by categories and subcategories, filtered by vibes. And again, you know, these tags can all come from your database. So if there's certain topics, certain categories and filters that are useful for you, either operationally or in terms of like what things you want to share with visitors and residents, we can help you to get those tags. And so I'll go back to Chicago, for example. And since I said my vibe today was dreamy, I can, you know, filter the list by dreamy things. I could, you know, filter it by a variety of different vibes, update that map. And then, so for any of these combinations of category, vibe, you know, we can geocode by neighborhood, so you can get very specific. All of that, we can then give you an embed code to put that on your website, whether it's an events feed, a place feed. This information, I'm not sure if it would work in the screen sharing that I'm doing, but you can have like a full screen mode and a printable mode for that map. So that kind of speaks to what Elle was saying in terms of some of their use cases of like getting a call, like, hey, like where should I, you know, take my family when I'm visiting this weekend? So all to kind of help with those use cases. And so that's the demo. Happy to take questions on that. And then I also wanted to say, you know, for anyone who's on the call today, we'd love to do a you know, session just with you. We can definitely give you a demo of the places, vibes, events that we already have for your area, and then talk about, you know, how we can have you show up on the map better. And so happy to provide like a demo and a report for anyone after today's session.
So just want to open it up if anyone has any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You know that really beautiful map you're just showing us about all the curated spots? If I decided to hire a writer to give me like the top 30 places to horseback ride in the area, could you do such a specific map of just those 30 things that I can then attach to the content blog itself?
Yeah, so we can do that. And so for like in Peoria's case, we're definitely working on this in terms of the integration with the more of the CMS. So if you have like blog posts that mention certain places, we can look those up either by name. So we have kind of like a fuzzy, intelligent like name search for places, or we can do it by the link that's in your exist. So in our integration, like we map all the links of existing links that Peoria has for all of the places in their business listing so that we can link back to that listing. So we can look it up by that so any of your existing blog content, with a little bit of work, we can then make into a map or into an embed or to a list.
Love that.
Jamie?
Hey guys, that was a really super cool demo. Love the concept of vibe and filtering by vibe. I think that's really just super awesome, very human, very natural, really great experience. On the POI integrations, how does it handle sort of business changes, business closures, et cetera? So like if you integrate a place in, you've got a point on the map, now that place has changed and it's something new. Does it automatically disable the old one, replace with the new? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that whole thing.
Yeah, happy to talk about that. And, definitely just because we are a company that was founded right when the pandemic was started, we definitely have been through a lot of changes. And even before and after, the kind of height of the pandemic, businesses are constantly changing. The same business changes management, changes ownership, changes hours. And so that's definitely a big problem, but we have done a lot of work to be able to check, if a place is closed, if a place has changed information. And so because we're syncing data on, again, we can, for the integration we set up for your organization, you can kind of decide what the best frequency is, but typically like weekly or daily, we'll go through and check, and we have kind of just some smart filters that try to predict if a place is closed. And then you can override that. And then because we aggregate information from a variety of different sites, we can also predict what we think is the best hours to show and best other information. I could go talk a lot more in more depth. Sometimes, a place is leased out, and so the vibe kind of stays similar, even though the name of the business changes. So we actually do have a way to keep that history of all the different addresses that are in your database. Like I said, we do work with kind of open city data portals and permitting systems. So we keep that historical record of places that have been, open and closed over time. And so we can pull in some of the existing vibes. Like, if a restaurant's on the waterfront in Peoria, it's going to have a simple vibe, even if it's the proprietor of that place changes. And so, again, knowing if a place is closed or not is not an easy problem. And I think in the case like for Peoria and some of our other partners, it also was just the case that once we started looking at the greater area around them, we were able to pull in a lot more data that wasn't currently on their website. So that can help that information to be more discoverable to visitors and residents.
I
will
guess
say-
I'm
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
just to sharpen the question a little bit.
Mhm.
So is the integration such that data is sort of scraped from other sites and then embedded into the Vibemap database? And the Vibemap database is what is being served up, or is it like an integration to outside sources that's always refreshing every time somebody clicks the pin?
It's more on the integration side, so it's not checking when every time somebody hits the page, but we're refreshing our own database on a frequent basis. For most of our partners, like them using our database and APIs is a pretty good option, to just do a pull from their source system and then have our database be used for, embeds and that sort of thing. But we can push that information back to your source system. So if we're enriching that with particular types of data, maybe flagging places that are closed, we could then push that back to the source system. But that would be on like a daily or weekly basis, not in real time.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Any final questions from anyone? Well, I guess we could go into the moment you've all been waiting for and select a winner, and then we'll just have some closing comments. So let me just share my screen. This wheel was not created by Vibemap, but just to select a winner. All right. Do we want to get a drum roll or anything? Okay, here we go. CJ?
He jumped off. He doesn't count. Roll again.
All right, we'll roll again.
Roll again. CJ's out. We voted him off the island.
Shh, don't tell him.
Yes.
All right, Brendan.
Okay, cool.
Brendan, do you want to say which place you selected and what the vibe is?
Yeah, so I picked one of Napa's kind of famous sushi restaurants called Morimoto, and it's kind of a classic here in Napa. So it has some classy vibes and some really great sushi. So next time you're in town, stop on by.
Great.
All right, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you all for participating and joining the webinar. Feel free to reach out to us if you wanted to have a one-on-one session, and we'll also be sending an update in terms of the vibes of your city and some maps that might be helpful. We'll also be recording this session, so we'll make that